Do you know that feeling of sending a message and waiting hours for his reply? You keep checking your phone, conjuring 1,000 scenarios in your head, wondering what you did wrong. Meanwhile, he seems completely unbothered, living his life as if you don't even exist. Why does this happen? Why do you obsessively think about him while he barely seems to remember you exist? The answer will shock you, and it has nothing to do with playing hard to get, with seduction games, or with those pathetic techniques you see online. Carl Jung, the most brilliant psychologist of the 20th century, discovered something about the female psyche that explains precisely why you feel this way. And more importantly, he revealed the secret to completely reversing this dynamic. The truth is brutal. The more you try to capture his attention, the more you're feeding the very pattern that pushes him away. All that advice about value yourself, be more mysterious, don't show too much interest is making you even more. Because the problem isn't in what you do, it's in something much deeper that happens in your subconscious. Something you didn't even know existed. Jung called this the animus projection. And when you understand what it truly means, everything changes, not just with him, but with all the men in your life from here on out. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the single question that makes a man think about you obsessively at night. But be warned, this is not a manipulation technique. It's an internal transformation so powerful that it completely changes how men perceive and desire you. And it all begins when you stop doing the one thing every woman does without even realizing it. Before we proceed, I need you to do something with me right now. Something that may seem simple, but will activate a profound process within your subconscious. Write the word animus in the comments now. Just that word. It might seem strange, but Jung discovered that naming an archetype is the first step toward integrating it. When you write this word, you are literally signaling to your subconscious that you are ready to meet that part of yourself that has been controlling your relationships without you realizing it. This is the first act of power, the first moment you stop being passive, waiting for his attention, and begin to awaken the inner strength that will change everything. Thousands of women have already done this and reported immediate changes. Not because it's magic, but because you are declaring intent. You are telling the universe and your own psyche, I am ready to stop projecting my power onto men and start reclaiming it for myself. Look at the comments. See how many women are on this journey with you. Each animus written there is a woman who has decided she will no longer be held hostage by male attention, who will no longer lose sleep over someone who barely thinks about her. Write animus now and feel the change begin. Because what I'm about to reveal next only works if you are truly open to this transformation. And the small act of writing is how you show that you are ready. I'll wait. Go to the comments, write animus, and then come back. The rest of what I have to tell you will make complete sense after that. Let me tell you something that will blow your mind. When you find yourself obsessively thinking about him, checking if he's seen your messages, conjuring scenarios in your head about where he is and with whom, you think the problem is him, right? That he's cold, disinterested, emotionally immature. But Carl Jung discovered something unsettling. He realized that when a woman can't get a man out of her head, especially a man who barely shows interest, she's not actually obsessed with him. She's obsessed with a part of herself that she's projected onto him without even realizing it. Jung called this part the animus, the masculine archetype that lives within every woman. Calm down. This isn't esoteric mumbo-jumbo. It's deep psychology. And once you grasp this, everything about your relationships changes forever. The animus is your inner strength, your ability to make firm decisions, your voice of conviction, your internal wisdom. It's the part of you that knows what it wants and goes after it without hesitation. It's your personal power in psychic form. Now comes the shocking part. When you haven't developed this part of yourself, when you haven't integrated your animus, do you know what happens? You project all that strength and power onto external men, particularly men who are distant, mysterious, difficult to win over. Why? Because your unconscious is desperate to connect with that energy that's lacking in you. So it creates an obsession. It makes you believe you need that man, that he's special, that if you can just get his attention, you'll finally feel complete. But here's the rub. He feels it. Men have a psychic radar for projection. When a woman projects her animus onto him, when she places onto him the qualities of strength and completeness she should be developing within herself, he feels the weight of that expectation. He senses you're looking to him for something he cannot give you. because no one can give you back your own power. And you know what he does? He pulls away, not because he's bad or disinterested, but because the masculine psyche has a defense mechanism against women seeking completeness in them. Jung explained this brilliantly. Men unconsciously reject women who place them on a pedestal because they know, on some deep level, that they cannot sustain that projection. What he truly wants, but will never tell you, is a woman who has already found her own power. A woman who doesn't need him to feel strong, confident, whole. Because only such a woman can be with him by genuine choice, not by unconscious necessity. And here lies the cruel irony. The more you try to win him over, the more you demonstrate that your animus is projected onto him. Every anxious message, every attempt to please, every sleepless night spent thinking of him is a glaring signal to his subconscious that you are seeking externally what you ought to be cultivating internally. Most women are unaware of this. They believe the issue is technique, that they need to be more beautiful, more interesting, more mysterious. So they resort to mind games, play hard to get, feign disinterest. But this doesn't work because it doesn't resolve the root problem. The projection remains, and he continues to sense it. Why does he act distant when in reality he might be interested? Because he is reacting to your needy energy, not to what you do or don't do. The masculine psyche is drawn to feminine integrity, to a woman who emanates the feeling of I am whole, and you would be welcome to join my life, but you are not necessary for my completeness. This is not something you can fake. You cannot manipulate a man into genuinely desiring you, because deep masculine attraction, the kind that makes him think of you at night, that makes him want to conquer you, that makes him feel he has found something rare, only occurs when he encounters a woman with an integrated animus. A woman who knows her own worth not because someone validated it, but because she has cultivated a genuine relationship with herself, with her strength, her wisdom, her decision-making power, with all those qualities she used to seek in man. And now comes the part that changes everything. The question you need to ask is not, how do I make him think of me? The real question, the Jungian question that transforms your life is. But before I reveal this question to you, you need to understand another layer of this dynamic, because there's something even deeper happening when you project your animus. Something about his shadow you are unwittingly feeding. And this is what I will show you now. Have you ever noticed that the more you show interest, the more he withdraws? That on days when you're most smitten, most needy, most requiring of him, he vanishes. And in the rare moments when you're occupied, living your life, he mysteriously reappears. This is no coincidence. And it's not because he enjoys mind games. Something far more profound is occurring in his unconscious. Something Jung termed the shadow. The shadow encompasses all that an individual rejects within themselves. The parts they deem unacceptable, weak, shameful. Every man possesses a shadow, and within this masculine shadow lurks a primal terror, the dread of being engulfed, consumed, of forfeiting one's autonomy. When you project your animus onto him, when you place him as the epicenter of your emotional existence, do you realize what you're doing unwittingly? You are activating precisely this fear within his shadow. He senses unconsciously that you intend to absorb him, that your emotions will drain his energy, that he will bear the burden of being your sole source of happiness, your raison d'être, your purpose. And his shadow panics. Why does he disappear precisely when you need him most? Because the emotional exigency you emanate strikes directly at the most vulnerable nexus of the masculine psyche. Man, at his psychological core, needs to feel he retains his individuality, that he will not be devoured by the relational dynamic. Jung elucidated this through the great mother archetype. I'm not referring to maternal affection. I'm speaking of an archetypal energy that every man unconsciously fears, the energy that nourishes, but can also suffocate, that embraces, but can also imprison. When you act from the projection of the animus, when your happiness hinges upon him, you inadvertently activate this devouring great mother archetype within his psyche. And he flees, not from you specifically, but from what you represent to his unconscious at that moment. Herein lies what he truly feels but could never articulate. She needs me too much. If I get close, I'll be responsible for her happiness. I'll lose my freedom. I'll be blamed every time she feels unwell. I can't breathe near this energy, but he doesn't consciously think this. He merely perceives an unease, an urge to distance himself, a sensation of suffocation, and you interpret this as personal rejection. as if you were not adequate enough. The truth is quite the contrary. You are being too good in the wrong way, too available, emotionally too dependent. And this sets off all the alarms in his shadow. Now, contrast this with what truly attracts the masculine psyche on a profound level. A man is magnetically drawn to a woman who possesses what Jung termed psychic autonomy, a woman who clearly has her own rich inner life, her own goals, her own journey. When he perceives that you are whole without him, something shifts entirely in the dynamic. His shadow relaxes, that primal fear of being consumed dissipates. And in its place arises something far more potent, genuine curiosity. Who is this woman who doesn't need me? What does she possess within that makes her so complete? What would it be like to be a part of her life, not out of necessity, but by choice? This is the energy that makes a man think of you at night. Not the need you emanate, but the integrity, the sense that there is an entire universe unfolding within you, and he would like to be invited to explore it, yet knows it is not essential to your emotional survival. Most women do the exact opposite. They attempt to prove their worth by being more available, more attentive, more present. They believe love is demonstrating how much they require the other. But to the masculine psyche, this is repellent. Not because men are selfish or cold, but because it activates the most frightening part of their shadow. What truly works, through the Jungian lens, is for you to withdraw your projections. It is for you to cease imbuing him with the qualities of strength, wisdom, and wholeness that you ought to be cultivating within yourself. It is for you to nourish your own animus until it becomes so robust that you literally need no external validation to feel complete. And when you do this, when you genuinely integrate your animus, something magical transpires in the dynamic. His shadow ceases to be activated. He stops pulling away, because now you no longer represent a threat to his sense of autonomy. You represent an equal, someone who is also whole, also possesses her own strength, also is on an individual journey. And two whole individuals can create something extraordinary together. But two halves seeking completion in each other, that engenders precisely the pattern you are currently experiencing. You obsessed, he distant. You needy, he fleeing. Why does he act cold when he actually feels attraction? Because he is engaged in an internal war. His conscious mind might even like you, but his shadow, that powerful unconscious part, is screaming danger, flee, you'll be consumed. And the shadow always wins. Always. Unless you change the energy you're emanating. Unless you stop feeding his fear and start awakening his desire. And true masculine desire, the kind that makes him want to conquer you, is only activated by one thing, a woman he perceives as psychologically autonomous. But there's more. Because even when you grasp this, even when you start integrating your animus, there's a trap that most women fall into. A trap related to what Jung called the persona. And this is precisely what we need to discuss now, because this can be the difference between him merely admiring you and him becoming completely obsessed with you. Now comes the painful part. The part most women don't want to hear, but which is absolutely essential to understanding why he never gets emotionally invested in you. You're wearing a mask, and he knows it. Jung called this mask the persona. It's the curated version of yourself that you present to the world. The you believe you should be in order to attain love, approval, acceptance. It's the woman who is always cheerful, always understanding, always interesting, always sexy in just the right way, never too needy, never too demanding. This persona is constructed from childhood. Society has taught you precisely how a woman must act to be desirable. Be sweet, but not weak. Be confident, but not intimidating. Be sexual, but not vulgar. Be independent, but not scary. Be authentic, but not inconvenient. And you've spent years perfecting this mask, believing that if you performed perfectly, if you said the right things, acted the right way, you would finally win the love you so desperately crave. But here's the brutal truth Jung discovered. The more perfect your persona, the more superficial any relationship you forge will be. Because men don't fall in love with masks. They are fascinated by them, attracted to them, may even date them for a while. But they never connect deeply. Do you know why? Because the male psyche has an internal detector for authenticity. Men may not verbalize it, may not even be consciously aware of it, but they sense when a woman is performing versus when she is being real. And here's the cruel paradox. What he truly wants, but will never tell you directly, is the imperfect woman behind the mask. The woman who has bad days, who has controversial opinions, who is sometimes moody, who has actual needs. Not this polished version of "I'm always fine, I don't need anything." Why does he never open up emotionally to you? Because you've never truly opened up to him. You've shown him your persona, your highlight reel, your marketing version, and his psyche recognized that as a transaction, not genuine intimacy. Jung said the persona is necessary for functioning in society, but it becomes destructive in relationships when you forget it's just a mask, not who you truly are. When you believe you must keep it in place 24 hours a day to maintain his interest, and then you find yourself trapped in an exhausting cycle. You perform, he maintains distance. You perform even more, convinced the issue is that your persona isn't compelling enough. He drifts further away, sensing he's engaging with a curated advertisement of you, not a genuine human being. Most women misinterpret this entirely. They believe they need to be more perfect, more impressive, more flawless. Consequently, they invest more heavily in the persona. More makeup, more gym time, more witty remarks, more polished photos, more captivating anecdotes. However, the male psyche doesn't crave perfection. It yearns for authenticity. Men fall in love with unvarnished vulnerability, not performative strength. They become fixated on women who possess the fortitude to reveal the imperfect humanity beneath the veneer. Why? Because only when you shed your mask can he divest himself of his own, his persona, which is equally taxing to sustain. And only when two unmasked individuals truly encounter each other, devoid of artifice and pretense, does profound connection become attainable. Here's what transpires within his psyche when you're perpetually ensconced in your persona. She's impressive, certainly, but I can't reach her on an emotional level. There's an impenetrable barrier. I'm never quite certain of her true feelings, her genuine desires. It's akin to being with a Shura model of a person, exquisite, yet devoid of an accessible soul. He subsequently interprets this as a lack of chemistry, as if you two are fundamentally incompatible, when in reality, you haven't even truly met. Only your respective personas have. But herein lies the most intricate conundrum. Discarding the persona ignites all your deepest fears, because you harbor an ingrained conviction that the authentic woman beneath the facade is insufficient. That should he witness your insecurities, your flaws, your off days, he will inevitably reject you. Jung termed this a disconnection from the self. The self is your unadulterated essence when no one is observing, your luminescence and your shadows, your strengths and your vulnerabilities, your complete imperfect humanity. And genuine transformation materializes when you muster the courage to present yourself, not your persona. When you declare, "This is me," through the highs and lows. And if it's not adequate for you, so be it, because it is perfectly adequate for me. This energy, this radical authenticity, possesses an irresistible magnetism for the male psyche, because, at long last, he can finally relinquish his guard. He no longer needs to decipher who you truly are. He is freed from the perpetual interrogation of whether your demeanor is genuine or strategic. He can simply be present with a real person. What truly captivates a man to the point where he thinks of you at night isn't your most polished version. It's the courage you possess to be imperfect in front of him, to show need without desperation, to express desire without performance, to reveal fear without weakness. Most women are afraid to do this because they conflate vulnerability with fragility. But Jung demonstrated they are opposites. Fragility is when your persona cracks and you crumble because you lack an integrated self beneath. Vulnerability is when you consciously choose to remove the mask because you are connected to who you truly are. A man flees from fragility, but he's irresistibly drawn to conscious vulnerability because it is so rare, because it requires so much integrated animus, so much inner strength. For a woman to say, "I will show myself as real, and I trust that who I am is enough," the moment of truth has arrived. Everything you've learned thus far about the animus, shadow, and persona converges into a single Jungian question that completely inverts the dynamic between you and any man. But before I reveal this question, you need to grasp why it works. Until now, you've operated from an unconscious belief that dictates all your behaviors. I must win him over to feel complete. Every time you check your phone, anticipating a message from him, you are operating from this energy. Every time you adjust your behavior to please him, you are operating from this energy. And the masculine psyche senses this, automatically recoiling. Jung discovered that the only way to dismantle this pattern is through a radical reorientation of the unconscious. This reorientation occurs through a single question that you must begin asking incessantly until it becomes your new psychic reality. The question is he good enough for me? Let that truly sink in. Because this is not a self-help platitude about valuing yourself. This is a complete Jungian reorientation. You are no longer in the position of one seeking validation. You are in the position of one assessing whether to grant access to your life. And the masculine psyche perceives this immediately. He realizes something has shifted, that the energy of need has dissipated, replaced by discernment. You have finally ceased projecting your animus onto him. When you ask, is he good enough for me? You are automatically assuming that you possess the worth, the strength, the power, that your life is the valuable territory, and he must demonstrate that he merits a place within it. This is not arrogance. It is animus integration. It is you reconnecting with the qualities of strength and wholeness that have always resided within you, but which you were seeking in him. And when you operate from this question, his shadow relaxes. You are no longer emanating, I will swallow you with my needs. You are emanating, I have a fulfilling life, and I am evaluating whether you add value to it. That primal masculine fear of being consumed vanishes, replaced by something rare, a genuine desire to prove his worth, to win over, to demonstrate that he is deserving of your attention. Your persona also naturally dissolves, because you no longer need to perform or impress him. You are simply being who you are and assessing whether he fits into your life, rather than trying to fit into his. And this authenticity is magnetic. Men obsess over women they feel they could lose, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you genuinely are in doubt, because you're truly evaluating, because your attention has become valuable, not desperate. Here's what happens in his psyche. Why isn't she chasing me anymore? What changed? Did she lose interest? Who is this woman who suddenly seems so complete without me? And he starts thinking about you, not out of manipulation, but because you've awakened the masculine instinct to conquer something valuable that is slipping away. But pay attention. This only works if it's real. If you're genuinely asking the question, is he good enough for me? And truly evaluating the answer. If it's just a strategy, his psyche will detect it, and the effect will be the opposite. That's why all the preceding work is essential. When you truly live from this question, you start to notice things. When he treats you as an option, not a priority. When he's being evasive, inconsistent. When the dynamic is unbalanced. And you act from this discernment, not with drama or demands, but by simply withdrawing your energy. Deciding that no, he's not good enough for me, and returning to your life, your goals, your growth. And that's precisely where the magic happens. He feels the absence of your energy. He realizes you've truly moved on, that you're no longer emotionally available, and his psyche goes into loss mode. Jung explained that humans value what they fear losing. When you were always available, he had nothing to lose. Now he realizes he might be losing something valuable, and his mind can't stop thinking about it. But the most important thing isn't making him think about you. The most important thing is that you've finally stopped obsessing over him. You've reoriented your energy towards yourself, towards building a life so rich that a man's presence is welcome, but not necessary. And when you reach that place, you start attracting a different kind of man. Or the same man transforms within the dynamic with you, because you've shifted the energetic field of the relationship. You're no longer in the dance of pursuit and evasion. You are whole, evaluating whether the dance is worth it. The question, is he good enough for me, isn't something you ask once. It's something you live daily, in every interaction. It's a constant reminder of where your power lies, of who you truly are when your animus is integrated. And when you live from that question, he has no choice but to think about you, because you've become the one thing the male psyche cannot stop pursuing, a woman who doesn't need to be pursued, a woman who has already found herself.